Hello everyone. I am so excited to be chatting with you today because we are going to be talking about my 2023 reading goals. I can't wait. I hope you're all doing so good today, and I'm very excited. I love goals. I'm that type of person. So I'm very excited to get to chat through these with you. There will be some overlap with my goals from last year. So if you haven't seen my 2022 goals wrap up video that includes my stats, I will link that down below. When I'm referencing that, I will try to remember specifics as much as possible, but who knows how much I'll remember off the top of my head. But yeah, link down below if you're interested in seeing more details about that. I also have my handy dandy notebook here, Blue's Clues reference for anyone who knows. So if I'm referencing this, it's because I have already filmed this video before and I missed so many things I have to refilm it. So womp womp. We're gonna use the notebook so I remember everything today, and let's go ahead and get into the goals. So firstly, I do set an amount of books that I want to read for the year. I know people feel differently about this. I know some people don't like to do it because it feels like pressure. I totally get that. For me, it does not, and I always set a very realistic goal for this, but it makes me feel good to see that I'm adding these books to the challenge and the bar's moving up. I like it. So I have set a goal for 75 books for 2023. Now in 2022, I read 114 books. So this is much lower than that. I imagine that I will read more than 75 books, but that's what I'm setting it at. In previous years, that is probably the average around what I was reading, is about 75 books a year. So this should be a totally realistic goal for me, and I will probably read more. That's the goal, 75 books. The next goal is a new goal for me, and it is a little bit more specific and focused, which I will say I have more goals this year than I have in any previous year. Quickly, I'll just say that typically, I always like to set really achievable goals for myself, so nothing that's gonna be impossible. And part of that is not setting too many goals for myself, so I really know what I'm focusing on throughout the year and I'm not forgetting stuff and leaving stuff behind. This is the year with the most goals, but I do still think it's a number that I can work with, and all of the goals kind of work together. I really want to accomplish these. They're not so much intentions, which I also love for you if that's what you're doing, but these are really goals that I want to stick to. That again doesn't make me feel pressure. I like the challenge of that. It keeps me very motivated. And yeah, make sure I'm reflecting about these throughout the year. So with that being said, goal number 2 is new for me and a little bit more specific than I would normally be, but this is around big books, and I want to read 5 big books this year. So over 500 pages. I think that's widely regarded as a big book is something 500 plus pages. For me, they're Picante Beef Babies. So I want to read 5 Picante Beef Babies in the year of our Lord 2023. So that is the goal for this year. Last year I read 4, so this is only 1 more than I read last year. So again, very achievable for me. And yeah, I think this is just to push me a little bit, maybe to even read outside of my genre. I'm not sure. I don't typically read books or read in genres that have a lot of books that are over that length, which is part of why I'm setting it, just to see what happens. I think as of now, I only own 3 books that are over that page length. As I quickly look, who knows? So I don't even own that many big books. And I have my eyes on a few that I want to buy throughout the year. So yeah, I'm setting this out there. I want to read 5. I do own Ducks Newburyport, which makes me nervous because if I don't buy more, I'm gonna have to read that one, and that one's over 1,000 pages, and there is no punctuation, no line breaks, no paragraph breaks, no page breaks, just solid walls of text. So who knows, maybe this is the year I read Ducks Newburyport, or maybe this is the year I buy a bunch of bigger books so I can swerve and not have to read that one. Your guess is as good as mine. But yeah, 5 Picante Beef Babies, for the year of 2023. The next goal is a goal that I had last year, and it's my translated books goal. So last year I had a goal to read at least one translated book a month, which I did, and that tends to be pretty easy for me to do, but I want to keep it this year, and I'll explain why. I explained this before, but the reason why I like a one a month goal instead of just assigning a percentage, let's say, is I want to be regularly picking up translated works. So I don't want me to like reading them all in one time of the year. I want them to be spaced out throughout the year because I want it to be a regular practice for me to be picking up translated works. That's pretty much the plain and simple facts of it. That really helps me be intentional throughout the year to make sure that I'm consistently picking them up, and it helps me realize in a given month if I haven't already picked up a translated work that I need to pick one up. So it just makes sure that it's consistently on my mind, and that's why I really like that goal for myself. It works well. Now this year I am adding an additional translated goal, and this is going to be a percentage. So my, fourth goal of the year is to read 30% translated works. Now, last year, I think I read 23%, if I'm remembering correctly. So this isn't a huge step up, but it is a significant increase for me. So last year, for example, it was like 1 in every 4.5 books I was picking up was translated. And this year it'll be closer to 1 in every 3 books that I need to pick up as translated. Mainly, I just want to do this because I'm wanting to stretch myself to read more and more translated works. I really enjoy that. It's a place that I want to be to sort of like decolonize my bookshelves, decolonize my reading, and just read more vastly and diversely. So I like that goal for myself. I feel committed to it. This probably is the one that's going to be the hardest for me because again, it is about 1 in every 3 books. So I'm going to have to be really intentional about that. But I think I can achieve it. So I'm ready to try. Now, the reason why I've set it at 30 and not something higher, which in my mind, I'm like, oh, 50-50, that would be great. But my current reading habits don't really permit that because I do read about 40% of my books from the library, and the library just doesn't have that big of a selection of translated works. It's mostly translated works from the big 5 houses, which is fine. There's stuff that I want to read there that's translated, but that's like a small portion of the translated literature that I'm wanting to read. So unless I just really cut down my library use, I wouldn't be able to do like 50-50. So that's why I'm picking 30, because I like using my library right now. That works for me. And then I also like buying translated literature in the month. So that's going to be around 30. I think that's a good benchmark that is realistic within my current reading habits and buying habits. So that's that. Now, goal number 5 has to do with tracking. So the first part of this is a goal that I had last year. Wink, wink, the only goal that I did not complete. And this is tracking my books in and out. So this was the only thing I was manually tracking last year. Otherwise, the rest of my tracking was being done through Storygraph, and that's where I was getting all my stats from. But I was tracking the books I brought in a given month and the books that I read out in a given month. So I am going to do that again. I want them to balance. That's the same goal I had last year, but who knows? Because that's the one I didn't do. So we're gonna try. I have a couple things in my head to try and get me to that number. This is the one I'm most nervous about, but it's still there. Regardless if I complete it or not, which I do want to complete it, I at least want to know the numbers so I can have that data in my head, because I think that's important to have some awareness around that. So I'm gonna be tracking my books in and out. A new thing that I'm gonna track this year is I'm going to track the small presses that I'm reading from. So the two things that I really like to be intentional in my reading is reading translated literature and reading from small independent presses. So I'm going to track that information this year. Not only am I going to track the number of books that I'm reading from small presses in general, but I'm going to track each individual small press and how many I'm reading from them. So for example, at the end of the month, I'll go through all the books that I read, do a tick mark for everyone that's from a small press, and then each one of those, I'll write out the small press that I read from and do one tick mark there, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to try and keep track of that data this year so I can start to get an understanding of the small presses that I read from the most. And yeah, just an overall general idea of the small presses that I might read in a given year. So I'm excited for that. The last reading goal that I have is a particular series goal, and that is to read all of the Sherlock Holmes books in 2023. I am very excited about this. If you saw my December book haul, these were gifted to me by my brother and my sister-in-law for my birthday, so I'm very excited to have them in my collection. And I cannot wait to read these. So yeah, this is gonna be my little project in 2023 to read all of them. I'm gonna be reading them in publication order. Part of why I picked this edition is I wanted each short story collection and each novella or novel to be separated out into its own book. And that way I could do it by publication date. So, we're sliding around. So these are all of them, and these editions are the headline editions. Of course, there are like so many beautiful editions out there, but I wanted an edition that was really separated up, and these are pretty enough and also complete that. So I'm very excited to do this year. I'm going back and forth on whether or not I want to do this as a video series. And either vlog my experience of reading each one or just do an individual standalone review of each one. So I'm going back and forth on whether I'm going to do that at all or like what format I'm going to do the video series in. So if you have any thoughts, feelings, opinions on that, please let me know. But I'm very excited. I have previously read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which is one of the short story collections, and I loved it. And this was a few years back. So I'm really just wanting to read it all. I'm addicted to Sherlock Holmes. I've seen like every adaptation there ever is. I've seen play adaptations, like anything you can think of, I have seen it. So I'm very excited to get to this and read a bunch of great mysteries. So that is the last reading goal for the year. Okay, so those are all of my reading goals. If that's all you're interested in, thank you for watching. Next up, I'm going to be talking about some content goals that I have for the channel. So if you're interested in that, you can stick around and see what might be coming in the future. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And you can go ahead and pop off now, and I will see you later. So for the rest of you, let's go ahead and talk about some content goals that I have for the year. Again, I'm not setting too many, but I do want to have like a few goals that are on my radar. So I'm making the type of content that I want and enjoy making. So the first content goal that I have is to do 3 additional publisher taste test videos. So I did one last year, and this is really only going to be for indie small press publishers. That is a decision I've made. I'm only going to do those like from here on out. So I want to do 3 additional ones. I already have 2 of them picked out, 2 of the publishers. The third one is up in the air, but I have some options swirling around for that. So just at least 3. These are like my favorite videos to do, but they take the most work because I have to do a lot of research about the publisher in general, and then I have to research basically their entire backlist. So it takes a lot of work to do, but I love doing them. So I'm committing to doing at least 3 more in 2023. If you want the inside scoop on the 2 that I already know I'm gonna do, which come courtesy of Ketevan from Ketevan Reads, so thank you. I will link their channel down below. I will be doing open letter and other stories. So those are two that I'm committed to doing. I've been picking up the books that I'm going to read in those videos over the past few months. So I'm very excited. I have one last book from each one of those that I will be picking up as 2023 releases, because I always read a brand new release in those. So I already have the months picked out where the new release will be coming out that I'm interested in, and then I will be making those videos. The third one is sort of up in the air. I have a few ideas in my head, but if there's any small press, independent press, or publishers that you're wanting me to cover, please drop them down below. I'm always looking for more, so please let me know your favorite ones down below, and I will definitely look into them. So that's the first goal. The second goal on my channel is I want to start 2 new series on my channel. I love doing series videos like the publisher taste test videos. They're very interesting and fun for me to make. And it really dives into like a niche for me as a reader of combining like research and critical thinking with the reading. So I enjoy that for myself. I have a ton of ideas for series I want to start, but I just haven't done them because they take more time than the average video, for me at least. So yeah, I have a bunch of ones that I want to start, and I'm committing to starting 2 more in the year. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And I think the first new series will be coming out in February, so not too far away. So starting 2 new series on the channel. The next one is sort of around vlogs, and I have some questions about this. So if you feel so inclined to answer, I definitely want your feedback. So I did a few vlogs last year. I think maybe only 3, a very small amount. And I was surprised at how much I enjoyed certain parts of the vlogging. But then I also found ways that I don't like vlogging. So I'm sort of adjusting to that. But what I do think I really like is, well, one, I like having the record of some of the things that I've done around the reading, and having sort of the real-time reflection on the reading as well. I think is fun for me to have, and hopefully fun for you to have. But yeah, so I enjoy that aspect. I'm not a person in my real life who takes photos like ever. So having that footage was very fun for me to have and look back on. And I want to do it again, but I also think that at least at this point in my life, I can't do long form vlogging, I don't think. I'm not good at like a week-long vlog at this point. I just lose track of it, and I can't film consistently for that many days straight. So what I do want to do is I want to do a few weekend vlogs. So this I think is really realistic for me. I have a few weekends picked out already that are going to work well for me to be able to vlog, mainly aka when my partner is not here, so I can consistently just film whenever I want. So yeah, we each have a few trips without the other one this year, so when he's away on trips, I'm going to do a few weekend vlogs. So I have plans to do that. I'm going to commit to doing 2 because I really enjoyed that process, and I think the shorter term vlog will work really well for me. So I'm excited for that. And the first one of those will be coming in March. So I'm very excited for that. Yeah, hopefully you will be too. The last channel goal that I have is I really want to do a blooper video at the end of the year. So I didn't even know that those videos existed on BookTube. I saw my very first one this last December in 2022. And when I tell you I was cackling, like so loudly, I could not stop laughing. Oh my God, it was a revelation to me that people were doing that. And so I really want to do that. So I have actually already started pulling out some of the like clips of me messing up in videos and putting them in a separate video. I had to teach myself how to do that. I was very confused at first, but I figured it out. So I know how to do it now, and I will be coming out with a blooper video at the end of the year. So hopefully you will enjoy that as well. But I know, like, honestly, that one's like for me, like I'm just gonna love looking back at all the times that I messed up. It's so hilarious to watch. And I will link down below the first one that I watched. So I watched Greg's from Supposedly Fun. So I will link his blooper video down below if you want to watch it. It's so funny. Oh my God, I loved it. So yeah, I'm gonna make a blooper video for the end of the year as a little end of the year treat for me and for you. So those are all of the goals that I have for 2023. Please give me your feedback on anything that I talked about today. I know I had many questions throughout, so whatever you remember, give me your feedback for. And yeah, also let me know any 2023 goals that you have for your reading, or if you have a channel or make content, what you have for that. I'm always intrigued by people's goals and might steal one of your goals for myself. So with that, I will see you all in the next one. Bye.